It's a good looking bike, definitely. What is up, YouTube? Archnook417 here, doing a review on the 2016 Suzuki GSX-S1000, and I'm excited to do a review on this. I have ridden the Kawasaki Z1000, which is a similar Kawasaki model. So I haven't ridden Honda's new 1000 yet, but I do have some experience with 1000s. So yeah, this should be fun. First impressions, the bike sounds awesome already. The exhaust, obviously it's a stock exhaust, but it sounds really good. It's not very quiet at all. Gauge cluster is very nice. It's got all the RPMs you need. It's got the speedometer there. It's got the gear indicator. So yeah, jumping on this bike and taking it through some slow parts already. It doesn't feel extremely light yet. It does feel like a little bit of a bigger bike. This particular bike has ABS, and I chose this because it rained last night and I think the streets will be a little slick. Hey, slingshots. Even at 3,000 RPM, the torque that's ready right there is pretty incredible. This bike is loud, stock, holy cow. I can't imagine if you put a proper exhaust on here how loud it would be. So taking off from a stop is pretty easy. It's very smooth. It's an inline 4. Inline 4s are usually smooth right off the bat. So you can, so the whole clutch action and throttle upon initial takeoff is very smooth. So this bike has 144 horsepower and about 76 foot-pounds of torque. So we're dealing with a good amount of power here, and they actually tuned it to give better mid-range and lower end torque and power. So, and the low end's great for city driving, you know. You can go stoplight to stoplight without having to rev the bike all the way out. This bike can be ridden smoothly. It just takes a lot more work, but first and second gear is definitely very twitchy, just like the FZ09 I've ridden. That was a very, very twitchy bike. So far it's got great power though. Like when you really get into it, it'll pull you back. You better be holding on to the handlebars. But yeah, going around those corners, not too bad. I mean, I don't feel super confident going around those corners. Maybe because it's a little bit of a heavier bike. Shifting is a little smoother in the higher gears, but the lower gears, not as much. the transmission doesn't shift as smoothly. So 5th gear, oh wow. Wow, 5th gear even has some good pull. Holy cow. And 5th gear just wants to pull my head off also. In terms of seating position, I mean, you're sitting straight up almost. A little bit lean forward, slightest amount. And that's just to reach the bars. The bars are pretty far up here, so. And it honestly feels similar to the Kawasaki Z1000. Like, if I didn't look down and see a red paint job and I saw a green paint job, I would think I was riding a Z1000. Honestly, like, these bikes are becoming very similar. So the seat so far is a little iffy. It's not that comfortable. I'm right up against a tank. I'm gonna leave it in 2nd gear here and just use a clutch because 1st gear is a little too jumpy for me. So taking that corner wasn't too bad in 2nd gear. It is not as flickable as the sport bikes, obviously, or it doesn't feel as flickable to me. It turns really well. It just, you can't flick it back and forth like a 600 or a 750 Gixxer. But going through these long sweepers, it feels great. It feels planted, very, very stable. And that could be the extra weight that helps it remain more stable. The thing I'm liking right now is the suspension. It is stiff. It's not gonna beat you up and kill you on the street. It's stiff, so it handles really well, but not too stiff, if that makes sense. It doesn't dip that bad when you brake either, which I find really annoying when the bikes dip very hard and when you brake. But yeah, this bike it's quick. It's got plenty of torque at any RPM. It goes, it's fun, I like it. I'm gonna leave it in 2nd gear. Ooh, nice Mustang. I'm gonna leave it in 2nd gear around this corner because it's smoother. Okay, yeah, it turns pretty well. We'll get on it here. Wow. That's great. That is great power right there. The power band is so linear. You get power anywhere in the RPM range, and it's just so smooth all the way through the RPM. It is very, very on and off, like a switch. It's like on, off, on, off, on, off. And yes, I've complained about that many times. We're at a stoplight, let's give it some revs here. Not bad, not bad. So when you're at a stoplight here, the bike does feel a little heavy. It's not hard at all to balance. See, I can bend my knees here and flat foot it, and I'm 5'11". So it is a lower seat height. The tank comes up here. It's a beautiful red and black paint job. Absolutely amazing paint job. I love red and black. The brakes are good. I mean, I didn't really get to use them as much as I could, but brakes are very good. It handles pretty well for its weight and for its size. It's a big bike, but I don't know. It's just It's like the FZ09 problem. I would have bought that bike probably if it weren't so twitchy and difficult to ride at lower speeds. But you know what? It's a great effort from Suzuki trying to get into the naked market. It's a great bike. I would say come ride one before you buy one, because you might not like the twitchy throttle. I don't like it. I like smoother bikes. But you know, the bike in other areas is great. It's a good looking bike, definitely.